What is good, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ruffle Rowlitz, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today I have a video that I think a lot of you guys will be interested in. Now, as you guys know, shiny hunting is one of the best parts about Pokemon, okay? Ever since the feature was introduced back in Generation 2, it has been beloved by a lot of people. I mean, there's literally people who just play Pokemon for shiny hunting, and I love shiny hunting. Honestly, I've been doing it now since ORAS. I didn't do it prior to that because I wasn't really into shiny hunting at that time. I didn't really know how shiny hunting worked at that time, but ever since ORAS, I've been into shiny hunting. I've enjoyed it quite a lot, and honestly, I want to see what shiny hunting is going to be like in Sword and Shield. Now, there is, of course, one issue with Sword and Shield when it comes to shiny hunting, and that, of course, has to be the fact that we don't really know what the method is yet. Like, you know, we don't know how it's going to work like, so it's kind of hard to prepare yourself or, you know, how you're going to shiny hunt. But I think the bigger issue is, usually with previous Pokemon games, they usually have all the Pokemon available in the games and that sort of stuff. I mean, not like, you know, physically in the grass and all that, but usually like the full dex is kind of there. There's a bit of a national dex. You can catch a little bit extra amount of Pokemon, but now this time around we don't have the national dex, which of course I'm not trying to get into that as a discussion or try to like bash Sword and Shield or anything. All I'm saying is that, you know, with the missing national dex situation, that means there's going to be less Pokemon to shiny hunt in general, but it shouldn't be an issue though, because there's going to be a bunch of brand new Pokemon though that you will be able to shiny hunt, which I think is going to be a good situation. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are we talking about? Well, today we're going to talk about how shiny hunting might work like in Sword and Shield. Now, this is just me making a little bit of an assumption and trying to figure this out ahead of time. I know we got about 25 days to go from when I'm recording this. We got 25 days to go until the game's released. So I want to just make a little bit of a prediction and a little bit of speculation as to what the shiny hunting might work like, because we have a bit of information here that could actually point us in the direction of what shiny hunting might look like. So let's start with the first few things that we got to keep in mind. Now, these games introduce two big new features, right? Which is Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing. Now, Dynamaxing also introduces max raid battles. Now, these raid battles are going to be battles where you group up with other players to take down a Dynamaxed Pokemon, and then one of you, I think all of you, I'm not sure how that really, I can't remember how they explained that, but basically, you take on this, you know, Dynamaxed Pokemon and you catch it. Now, I think that that is going to be an aspect of where shiny hunting could get a little bit of, you know, a little bit of elevation, where maybe like the chance of a shiny Pokemon might be a little bit higher for like a Dynamax Pokemon, and also then there is Gigantamax Pokemon, which are even more rare, you know, or like very rare compared to like your normal Dynamax Pokemon. So the point I'm trying to get to is, I think Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing could have an impact on how many shinies actually show up. I think maybe like, you know, in max raid battles, there might be an increase in the amount of actual shinies you could run into, or just a chance of a shiny to show up maybe increased. I think maybe it could be an increased amount there. So, I mean, I'm not really sure, but I think that's a worthwhile point to bring up. Now, there are a few things that have been revealed to us about Pokemon Sword and Shield with other aspects of Pokemon Sword and Shield that could also point us towards shiny hunting information. So let's start with that first of all, shall we? Starting off, of course, with this right here. So this was posted by Perkexperto like last week, and what this basically says here is that in Pokemon, in the wild area in Pokemon Sword and Shield, there may be yellow glows, and these yellow glows are yellow, like, you know, like little like stars or whatever that show up. These yellow glows will basically indicate Pokemon that have egg moves and also IVs that are on the fullest. Now, why is this anything to do with shinies? Well, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, the fact that it's going to be like a shining star or whatever, or like, you know, like a glow, already points towards like, you know, just kind of like the way shinies are, which is like, you know, they get that whole glow when they pop up and all that. But not just that also, because these things mentioned here, like egg moves, IVs, like, you know, what else is missing here to make this like the, you know, like a full complete thing? Well, shinies, right? I think that maybe there will be a method where we are going to be able to somewhat maybe chain these sort of like glowing Pokemon, right? Maybe like we might be able to use some sort of lure in the game again. Like, we haven't seen any lures introduced, but we know for a fact that that existed in Let's Go, right? Let's Go introduced those. You had those max lures and all that stuff, which you could use to increase your chance of a Pokemon showing up, but also increase the chance of shiny Pokemon showing up, and then you could chain them by catching them. Now, I don't think chain catching them in this game will work, but maybe there will be another way to do it. Like, I'm not 100% sure yet, but I think we will be able to chain them in some sort of way, and maybe, like, looking just for Pokemon that have the glowing shiny thing, right, you know, like the glow thing, right, maybe, like, we'll be able to chain Pokemon through that. Maybe that's going to be the method for doing it. Now, of course, there's also, like, soft resetting for certain Pokemon, but that's more like starters and legendaries, which, you know, doesn't really work for general Pokemon. But this is an interesting thing that I think is worthwhile to mention. Like this feature right here, the fact they're going to have some sort of glow for full IVs and egg moves, that to me sounds like a good indication of what shinies might also look like in terms of that. Like maybe that could be an indication for shinies as well. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, because we don't even know yet if shinies will show up in the overworld. Like if a Pokemon is shiny in the overworld, will it show up shiny in the overworld, or will it not show up shiny in the overworld? Like that's a thing I'm really curious about, because if it does, then that's awesome. We got the same thing we had with, with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, which was pretty cool, when a random shiny just pops up out of the grass. But since we haven't really seen how the popping up works and all that, will the shinies only be the exclamation marks? Because if we look a little bit further into this, right over here, so right here we have a little bit of an indication. So for example, details in Pokemon Sword and Shield map, it has an objective marker and reminder of your next mission, since now you can get lost in the wild area if you want to. And the Pokedex has a map that indicates the Pokemon that can be found in an area where you are. But that's not the only thing though. If I actually go all the way down here on Pokeexperto, down to like the initial parts. Also, it seems like we have a new little piece of information here, a little piece of info, a little piece of Korokoro. But if we actually scroll down here to the bottom, which is pretty far down, because it's been a while now, let's be honest, since we talked about these, these posts and stuff. But if we scroll down, there's actually a post about how exclamation marks may have an effect on the sort of Pokemon you run into. So I think it's worthwhile to look into that and kind of see what that means. So here's what the post we looked at previously, and then there's one about exclamation marks, which I think is worthwhile looking into. Also here, there is something about like the max raid battles in terms of like their perfect IVs and stuff, which I think again is worthwhile mentioning. So let's see if we can find the exact image we were looking for, unless we can't, which if that's the case, then that's the case. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the image I was looking for. So here's basically what it tells us. Now, types of Pokemon encounters in Sword and Shield. There's visible Pokemon, which is the ones you see right here in the image, right? The ones that are running in the grass. You see all these like Galarian Zigzagoons, they're running in the grass. These are the ones you can see, right? And then there is Pokemon hidden in the grass. And Pokemon with an exclamation mark that you can challenge if you want to, or pass them by and beware in the wild area. Now, there's exclamation marks also in the grass we've seen a few times, right? There's exclamation marks in the grass. So I do wonder if maybe you go for those exclamation marks, maybe you can chain them, right? Like you can chain them and something like that could work. I mean, we looked at an image a second ago here, which I think you guys will want to see. So this one right here from Central Pokemon says that similar to the Dex Nav, the Pokemon Sword and Shield Pokemon will have a mini-map that will show all the Pokemon that appear on the path you are on, which, again, that's interesting. But also, the way you guys remember the Dex Nav, there was a Dex Nav hunting. So I wonder if you'll be able to do hunting the same way you did it on the Dex Nav, but in Sword and Shield with the brand new map there. So I do wonder if that might be the case here. Maybe you'll be able to do some sort of hunting very similar to the Dex Nav hunting, based on the fact there's going to be a very similar map to that. And also, I think Dex Nav hunting and like this, like, Oras hunting, I mean, for me personally, that's where I started shiny hunting, hence why it's my favorite generation for shiny hunting, because there were so many different methods to do it, right? Whereas if you look at Let's Go, there's really only like two methods. It's soft resetting for the legendaries, which is only like what, one of maybe, and like like four of, if you think about it, right? Like Mewtwo and the the legendary birds, right? You can soft reset for those, but you can do only that for those, and then you can just normally do the chaining, right? Like chain hunting, or just random, like, full odds, random full odds shinies, which, isn't really even a method. It's just kind of, I mean, I guess you could count it. So you counted 3, right? But if you look at all the other generations, it's usually like, 5, 6, options of shiny hunting you could usually do, like give or take, not exactly always 5, 6, but give or take, like, some of the better games will usually have more options. But my point is, it could be very similar style to what we have with the Dex Nav. That could be the case we're looking at here. Now, another thing about Dynamaxing, as I mentioned earlier, Dynamaxing could be the way we get shiny. So here's some details of Pokemon Dynamax raids. Some perfect IVs, hidden skills, and egg moves will be on these Pokemon. There's no mention of, shiny Pokemon, but I feel like there definitely will be a chance to find, more likely to find a shiny Pokemon in max raid battles than to be, than not. I think there's going to be a higher chance. Now, I'm not sure if you're going to be, again, like, how will you chain these? Like, that's the biggest question, I guess, that I have, and why I'm a little bit, like, hesitant to really say that there's going to be like this, it's going to work just like this, it's going to work just like that, or, it's going to be just like this. I have a hard time, like, just saying that, because I don't know exactly. It's very hard to actually, like, put a finger on it and just be like, this is it, this is how it's going to work, because we don't know yet. I mean, it's strange, because max raid battles, I think, will be a way to get shinies. I also think the exclamation marks in the grass and the glowing stuff could be an indication as to what shinies will work like, might be like, might look like. I mean, not look like, but, just how it's going to look like when you want to run into these boys. So, yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. I guess that's really, you know, just about it, though. I think we've gone through most of the stuff here that was posted, but I think, like, based on this, we can get a bit of an indication of what it's going to be like. Now, of course, there's also another thing you should keep in mind, which is that when it comes to, like, your, the shinies in the start here, you know, for the starter Pokemon, you actually can soft reset for them very easily. So your opponent challenges you shortly after choosing your initial Pokemon. Use two Pokemon. You can do soft resets before trying to get better IVs. You can do soft resets before to try to get better IVs, nature, and shiny. So, yes, you'll be able to actually try to get shiny Pokemon, shiny starter Pokemon, straight away from the game in the start. So, again, interesting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will be shiny hunting every day when these games come out. Like, as soon as I've finished the full game, I'm going to start shiny hunting in it. So, hopefully you guys will join me for those shiny hunting streams. I was going to do a bit of a shiny hunting stream today in Let's Go for you guys, just for fun, like, during stream. But unfortunately, I deleted my Let's Go save file, so instead I'm just going to be playing through Let's Go normally, which I hope you guys will join us for. But either way, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching the video. If you did enjoy, drop a like down below. I'll catch you on the next one. Have yourselves a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.